Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. I want to say salute to Regis Prograis for being the first two-time champion from the city of New Orleans. You know, it's been a couple weeks. I wanted to get all the knee-jerk reactions to what we saw and what happened. I'll get into that in a second, but I wanted to salute this young man after he suffered the controversial loss decision to, the former unified champ Josh Taylor at 140. He had to actually take the steps. He had to take the long way around. He stayed persistent. He had a couple fights. He talked. He was building himself. He was training. I was watching him train throughout the process. And even when it came up to the build-up to the fight, they talked their stuff because it was the number one versus the number two, and this was for the WBC, which was vacant, and that was against José Zepeda. So, the fight took place. Regis did his thing. I seen a lot of head movement. I seen poise. He did get touched a little bit, but he was dealing with, somebody that they know each other. But they two champions. José Zepeda was nothing to shake a stick at. Definitely a good warrior. He was going in, he had some things going on, some weird little funny things, like a little fender bender right before, little things that was just going on in his life surrounding him, but it was his opportunity, blue collar guy, to get his shot at it. He was trying to become a champion. So it was a good fight. And surprisingly, according to CompuBox, courtesy of CompuBox, the punch stats, we had Zepeda landing 66 and Regis landing 156. But thrown, Zepeda had thrown 381, Regis 634. Regis was at 25%, so he was 25% effective. Zepeda was at 17%. When it came to jabs, Prograis, he almost doubled Zepeda. He threw 434, and Zepeda threw like 232. So it was 19 to 15% on that one. Now, this is where it gets a little different. The power shots landed 75 by Regis. 75 power shots landed by Regis to 31 by Zepeda. And so he threw him 200 to 149, and that's really the tale of domination, because Regis landed at 38%. Zepeda was only at 21%. And this is one of those cases, and I'm bringing it up now because I got an example, but this is one of those cases where Regis was more accurate and more active. So you could be more accurate and less active and make a fight look like the fight that just happened with T.O. You could do that, right? Because that's what Sandor Martin was able to do. So not only was Regis more accurate, but he was also more active. And these guys are not big jabbers, but I've seen a lot of head movement. But that was courtesy of CompuBox. But yeah, that was CompuBox. And the numbers tell a story. The numbers, sometimes when you actually look at the numbers and you compare what you actually seen in the fight, the numbers can substantiate whether or not your scoring is accurate and correct. Only other thing I wanted to say about Regis, with him being a champion, he could actually go back to New Orleans. He said he wants to fight in New Orleans, which he deserves. I think he's down in Houston, I think that's where he be at, but he wants to go take a fight back down in New Orleans, which he should, and, Devin, he had a silver bullet to actually pull for the WBC. He's claiming that after Lomachenko, that's something that he may visit, so that could be a fight. It would be nothing to be able to stop that fight from coming, as with Devin being the undisputed champ. Who he could go ahead and call his boy up, Mauricio Sulaiman, and make that happen. That's an option. I'm sure Regis is, relaxing right now. He looking for, a potential opponent. He could take one back down to New Orleans. and do his thing. Now, I think he solidified himself as one of the cornerstones in the 140 division. There are a couple major players out there that people, that are forces to be reckoned with, like Gary Antoine Russell, like, maybe, we're looking at a Richardson Hitchens. He's saying he won it all. We have Sabril Matias, and we got Tio. I don't know if Tio is ready after what I saw last night on it, but that's he fought the Eliminator against Sandor Martin. Got a whole nother video about that, but I wanted to give Regis his credit, his praise, because he do deserve it. He's one of the boxers that I say is like salt in the game, which is going to preserve the sport of boxing, because he's one of the most duck fighters in boxing. That's facts. He's one of the most duck fighters in boxing. And I think he's, blue collar. Like, him, Errol Spence, Jamel Charlo, both of the Charlos, they cut from that cloth. These are the caliber guys. So I believe that, he's a force to be reckoned with. And we'll talk about Tio and some other things that he got going on. But I didn't see a lot about Regis, so salute, and thanks for the support. Hit the subscribe button, update your notifications if you can, and don't be a stranger. Here at Bodywork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.